Hello, everybody! Welcome back to the Hartford Whalers expansion franchise here on NHL 24. It's our Year 4 trade deadline episode, and unfortunately our Whalers are sellers this year at the trade deadline, and we are planning on making a couple moves. So we have Scott Laughton. He's been around the entire length of this franchise. Of course, our expansion pick from the Flyers back in episode 1. He started in every single game so far over the course of this franchise. I want to say that's 306 games. He's been a part of every single one. The numbers have declined here in year 4 now. His age 32 season is on a contract year. We've had him mostly on the third and fourth lines just because of his decline this season, but we're always going to remember Scott Laughton as a Hartford Whaler, even though he has spent more time as a Flyer at this point in his career, but a mainstay throughout this franchise. Now Oliver Bjorkstrand just signed him on a one-year deal. He missed out on some priority guys this past offseason, had to settle for Bjorkstrand. Was hoping he'd bring more of a goal-scoring presence, but 12 and 60 games, not the worst. All things considered, we have had a bad season collectively, only 24 points to this point. So a down year for Bjorkstrand, another guy on a contract year, but he's proven to be able to score goals in the past. And I think a team, look to bolster their third or fourth line and add him in, maybe get him on the power play as well. Now, Esa Lindell, we acquired him at the year 2 trade deadline. That was a big trade back then. He had 7 points in 15 games, also played good in our playoff run, our only playoff run so far in this expansion franchise. Numbers were down last season, and they've gotten even worse this year, but still Lindell at age 32 can provide a decent two-way defenseman for a team looking to upgrade their third pairing. And then Jake Evans, he's been very down this year. Entering this year, like Laughton, he started every single game, but this year he's been a scratch a lot of the way, pretty much half the season, only 5 points in 25 games. Going back to year 2, he was phenomenal with 38 points, plus 11, and a very good player there on our fourth line, but only 6 goals the next year and a half combined. So I don't know if anyone's really going to want to bring in Jake Evans, but we'll certainly just throw out a flyer, see if we can maybe bring in a 7th round pick. But Lindell, Bjorkstrand, Laughton, we think we can get some pretty decent compensation back for them, but we'll see how it goes here, as we are just going to simulate a few games here. So we'll take a look at our calendar. And we ended last episode by winning 3 straight games. We beat Nashville, shut out Philly 4-0, beat Dallas 6-1, lost to Ottawa, who is one of the top teams in the NHL this year at 42-15-4. Currently the second team in the NHL right now with 88 points behind Florida. And prior to that, beat Pittsburgh. So we've won 4 out of 5, playing better hockey here, but just really dug ourselves in too deep of a hole. At this point, we're like 9 points out of a playoff spot, so probably a little out of our grasp. I'd rather just pack it up this season. Look ahead towards next year where we're going to have a lot of cap room to make some moves. And I think we'll be able to upgrade this team even more going into year 5, where I think we'll be able to make a pretty good run. I'm expecting us to shake it up and maybe even fire our head coach as well, but just don't tell him that we'll simulate this game against Seattle, a scoreless first period. And then we get 2 apiece here. Ulf Hedin, he scores on the power play early on. He was the 2nd or 3rd overall pick back in that year 1 offseason where we won the draft lottery, picked Sammy Maki number 1. And Ulf Hedin was off the board a couple picks later. Shane Wright gets on the board as well. And then we even it up with Philip Zadina, Leo Carlson there, shorthanded. And we'll just live sim this third period as they get a quick one there from Lazar to put them ahead. So now 3-2 Seattle. Less than 15 minutes left in regulation. Shot advantage here for Hartford, 27-23 now, more than halfway through the period. The Whalers need one here late. Now less than 3 minutes left. Can we get one? I don't know. And they get another one. Burakovsky, an empty netter, as Seattle is going to take this one. We had 35 shots on goal, but could not manage to come out with a win. Burakovsky, 3 points. Logan Thompson stopped 33 of 35 shots. Very good performance from him. Recently signed long-term as Seattle's goaltender, maybe this past offseason or the one before. Now Mangiapane approaches general manager Ray Ferraro, saying, I don't think I'm performing to the best of my abilities. Well, really, no one is this year, Andrew, so no need to take it personal. I think we'll just try and persuade him in this spot. He has very good morale. He's our captain, so I think that works. So it did. Thank you for the vote of confidence. I appreciate it. So no morale change there. Better than negative morale. You never want that. And now we have at Vancouver, game 62 on this season. Just 20 more after this one. We're going to try and get into the offseason here very quickly. Maybe another episode or 2. As we jump up 2-1 after the first period. Quinn Hughes, the first goal scorer. As we do have Daniil Tarasov, our backup, in for this one. Scott Laughton with the shorthanded goal, boosting his trade value here into the trade deadline. And then Mangiapane, it's good to see the vote of confidence from general manager Ray Ferraro paid off as Mangiapane, the go-ahead goal late in the period. Now 2-1 Heading into the second, Mangiapane another one, now 3-1, and we hold on, win 4-3. Zadina another one, but late goals there from Elias Peterson, Tanner Ginott brought them within one, but we hold on here, win 4-3, as we're now winners in 5 of our last 6 at this point, or 5 in our last 7, something of that note. So I think that will take us now into the trade deadline. So with that, we will now enter the trade deadline, and someone we thought about maybe dealing was Mark Scheifele on a contract year, but we're going to try and re-sign him in the offseason. A little bit older now at this point, of course, into year 4 here from NHL 24. So at this point, I think we're in 2027 or 2028. So, of course, Scheifele a little bit older, but we want to keep him on this team. Currently top 10 in the NHL in points. We see here Quinn Hughes, the top defenseman on the market. Dan Vladar now with Montreal, the top goaltender. Adam Pelech there, still with the Islanders, along with Ryan Pulock. As we see the Oilers trade a 2-3 Akey to Seattle in exchange for Jake Bean and Caden Fleury. So the Oilers make a deal there, get a couple defensemen. As we were going to try and shop Esa Lindell to Edmonton, but looks like no need for him now. JT Miller, Frank Vachano now with the Flyers. Fabian Zetterlund, a little bit younger at 27 years old with elite potential. Right winger there for San Jose, part of that young core. But on a contract here, looking to unload him. We get another trade here, Philadelphia, as they're going to trade Frank Vachano, Jay Osgood to Pittsburgh in exchange for Joseph. Not a familiar trade there, you know. You don't really see the Pittsburgh Penguins and Flyers making too many deals together. Timo Meier available, Daniel Sprong. So a pretty strong group. Also Dominic Kubelik here, still with Detroit. A strong group of players. But I was looking offline, and I think we're going to try and package Bjorkstrand and Scott Laughton in the same deal. We have a team here, contender, who could use a couple spots there on the bottom lines, especially someone like Laughton, as we do get a trade offer here for Besser, but we're not trading him. We still have him under contract for next year. So we're going to try and make a trade here with Florida, who's currently atop the NHL, and try, you know, a rich get richer type situation. So they are interested in Bjorkstrand. As I said, they could use a goal scorer there on the bottom lines, and then Scott Laughton just brings so much heart and grit wherever you're playing, whether you play him on the top line, the bottom line. He's going to be pretty consistent, even though he's had a disappointing season for our Hartford Whalers this year. And instead of just going straight for picks, I did want to get a winger or a centerman in return. So I was looking around at someone who would maybe make sense. Of course, they're not going to give up someone like Barkov, Reinhart, Lundell in a trade like this. Kachuk, Verhaeghe, you know, those guys are here to stay. Fisher even is having a good season at right wing. So I was looking at Grigori Denisenko here, 26 years old, left wing, right wing with the right-handed shot, 5'11", 175 on the season, 19 goals, so very close to eclipsing his first 20-goal season, 33 points total, so really only his second full season in the NHL, and he's playing pretty well with a plus 19. Obviously, they're on a very good team going back to 2024-2025, year 2 of this franchise. He had 15 goals, 20 assists, 35 points, and he's also a former first-round pick. So he does have that playmaker player type, which I don't think we really have much on the team. We see another trade there at the bottom, missed that, but it looks like Winnipeg has acquired LeBlanc, Victor Arvidsson, and Eric Robinson there as they get quite the haul. So this is going to bring them over the cap, so we're just going to go ahead and retain everything here from Bjorkstrand. We have plenty to, you know, shed at this point. So we'll go ahead and retain 2.725 there from Bjorkstrand, which is now a league-approved trade, but we still have more trade value to recoup here from Florida. And I was looking at prospects, and it's going to be so funny as I landed on Javon Marks, who they are interested in trading away, which is funny because we traded Javon Marks along with a first, a second to them in that Brandon Montour trade this past offseason. So we drafted Javon Marks, what was it? Let's take a look. 38th overall in 2024, early there in the second round of that year 1 offseason. And now we traded him to Charlotte, where he hasn't had any playing time. I think if we acquire him, he'll maybe be our starting goaltender there in the AHL with our Poughkeepsie Panthers. But I'm going to try this trade, Denisenko and Javon Marks in exchange for Oliver Bjorkstrand, Scott Laughton. It looks like they might have more trade value there, so we might have to throw in even a pick if we want to make this happen, as that is not going to get it done. So I think we'll go to draft picks, see if there's anything we can add. We have 2 5s this year. What about a 7? Well, a 7 in addition. Get it done, and it does. So that's all we needed to add was a 7th round pick. So we acquire Denisenko, Javon Marks. We get that goalie prospect back, which is kind of funny. All said and done, you know, he goes there to the Florida organization for a few months, and before he knew it, he's all the way, you know, back in Hartford. as we'll revisit some trades. So the Islanders acquire Timo, Meier, and Yakov Trenin from New Jersey in exchange for Ryan Pulock, a 3rd and a 5th round pick. I don't really know about that when we see Washington trading O'Connor, a 3rd, and Mackenzie Entwistle to Calgary for Muse and Haima Salmi, 2 prospects there. We'll go back in and take a look at that trade, let it refresh, as it's defenseman Henry Muse, a top prospect there for Calgary, now on Washington, along with another defenseman there, Logan O'Connor, going to Calgary, along with a 3rd round pick, and former Hartford Whaler Mackenzie Entwistle. And at the bottom, Canucks trade Kuzmenko and Nosek to the Boston Bruins for a 2, a 3, and Broden, as Boston acquires Kuzmenko. As I mentioned earlier, we were considering trading Mark Scheifele, at least shopping him, and Boston was the team that was offering the most, but ultimately we decided to keep him. But Mark Scheifele almost ended up in Boston to try and strengthen their playoff run this season. We'll keep going down as Winnipeg acquires Kevin LeBanc, Victor Arvidsson, and Eric Robinson from Washington as they get Paul Bradford and a 2nd round pick. Minnesota acquires Adam Larson and a 7 from Detroit. They give up Matanin, Tulipov, so a couple prospects going there to Detroit. Pierre-Oliver Joseph from Pittsburgh to Philadelphia as they send Vetrano and goalie Jimmy Osgood to Pittsburgh. And probably a good rule of thumb not to trade a goalie with the last name Osgood. And the trade that kicked it off, Seattle gets a 2, a 3, and a defenseman B. Akey in exchange for Jake Bean and Cale Fleury. So a lot of trades, a flurry of trades already early on, as we still have a few hours to go here from the trade deadline. Still Quinn Hughes available. Not sure if he's going to get dealt. Dan Vladar, Adam Pelech. Although Ryan Pulock did get traded to New Jersey in that Timo Meier trade. Now Vancouver saying JT Miller's off the market. Frank Vetrano got sold. Timo Meier was sold. And it's been a little bit quiet now as it's gone on as we almost hit 9 a.m. Dustin Wolf, another goalie available. Mark Stone from Vegas. Teravainen, he signed a big contract with St. Louis a couple years back. Jacob Slavin, he just signed with Montreal. I think even this past offseason, or maybe the offseason before, signed a big contract there. But you oftentimes see a team will sign a player to like a big contract, and then immediately they just list them on the trade block, which never made sense, but that's just how it goes. So we had one more player we want to trade. I think we'll just go find trade here for Esa Lindell. There were a few suitors. I did like Edmonton the best. They we're willing to offer a 2nd round pick for Lindell, but now we'll see. We'll just go find trade and see if any make sense. So Winnipeg will give us a pair of 5s. The value has really diminished here for Esa Lindell. It was a little bit higher before. We'll go edit trade. I don't even know if Winnipeg was originally one of the teams that were interested, but it seems like they are now, as I guess they can afford it. You know, they have plenty of cap room. They're a very good team battling for a playoff spot, so I guess it does make sense that they would have interest here in Esa Lindell. Can we get a 3 and a 4 maybe next year instead of 2 5s? I don't think that's going to do it, but we'll send it through. What about just a 3? And that is accepted. So we send Esa Lindell to Winnipeg for a 3rd round pick. We were prepared to get a 2nd round pick for next year from Edmonton, but we'll take the 3rd round pick instead, as we're now at 9:32 a.m. 2.5 hours left of this trade deadline. But I think we'll I wish you can, skip ahead a little bit quicker, but it doesn't let you do that. But in order to save time, I think we will just exit the trade deadline and we'll revisit here the recap as we see their left wing Grigori Denisenko. As we see their trade alert, the biggest trade was Timo Meier and Trenin going to the Islanders in exchange for Pulock, a 3rd and a 5th. We also have Fabian Zetterlund traded from San Jose to Columbus in exchange for David Severson and a 2nd round pick in 2028. Colin Blackwell trying to pass through waivers here. Let's take a look. 33 years old, former 7th round pick, 44 games of experience. Last played with Colorado last season. 12 points in 80 games. No thank you. As now our first game post-trade deadline is going to be at Boston. And we are now here at the TD Garden taking on the Boston Bruins. They actually only have a 1-point lead over us in the standings right now. So a different approach for each of these teams, going into the trade deadline. The Boston Bruins made a deal. They had acquired Andrei Kuzmenko. As now a rip right here for Pasternak right out of the gate. Pavel Zacha there on the rebound. But Yaroslav Askarov able to close the door. Not a good first series here for our Whalers. Just 33 seconds in, the Bruins get a very opportune chance. As again, Pavel Zacha against Mark Scheifele here on the faceoff. But as I said, Boston does acquire Andrei Kuzmenko, making his Boston Bruins debut as another shot there from Charlie McAvoy that time in the slot, robbed by the glove there of Yaroslav Askarov, as our young goaltender getting tested early on enters this game with a .909 save percentage, 3 shutouts on the year. His first season as a full-time starter, of course, acquired him last year at that trade deadline. Now Pasternak to Lindholm, a rip, a pad save there into the corner. Montour is going to get it now. An alternate captain on this team after trading Scott Laughton, as Laughton and Oliver Bjorkstrand head to Florida. And now Mark Scheifele tripped up. A shot there for Brock Besser. I guess Scheifele just fell. Thought he was tripped up. We see there Andrei Kuzmenko, aforementioned, as he makes his Boston Bruins debut. 3 or 4 strong seasons there with the Canucks. And now a change of scenery here in Boston. We'll have Jordan Rozovic on the faceoff as he loses that to Zacha. The top line still out here for the Bruins. Hampus Lindholm taking it across center ice now into the zone. Lindholm now in front for Bertuzzi, and he scores! Boston has been all over us early on. Tyler Bertuzzi, his 12th goal of the season. Also has 40 assists playing there on the top line. A very good acquisition they made for him a few years back, and he's been a long-time Bruin to this point over the course of this franchise. As he delivers that one into the back of the net, the Bruins take the early lead, and our Whalers definitely need some sense of life here. It has not been an encouraging start. That'll move Tyler Bertuzzi up the list there. Pasternak with 42 goals leading the way. No one else on this team with over 15. So, of course, Pasternak has owned the goal share here in Boston this season. Still with their top line out there. Going to go for another one. Bertuzzi taking it in. I don't think we've won a face-off yet, as Tom Wilson is able to intercept that centering pass. And that loses possession back behind the boards, picked up by Sami Maki, former #1 overall pick. Going back to this the year one offseason, as Filip Zadina going to dump it in. Good forecheck there. Now Rozovic trying to get a shot off blocked right before now behind the net. And so send that along the boards for Maki back to Rozovic. Rozovic trying to work his way in, closed off. Now Kuzmenko taking it the other way. Kuzmenko poked by Maki. Montour picks it up. Now up the ice for Rozovic. Rozovic working his way and gets some separation. Now Tom Wilson. A weak forehand shot there, saved by Ullmark. Now Wilson with it in front, and he scores! Tom Wilson just following the puck wherever it went, and he ends up right in front of the net, and he scores there. Kuzmenko trying to defend him, but could not get him, as Tom Wilson, his 17th goal of the year, his 3rd season now with Hartford, along there with Mark Scheifele, both brought in during that year one offseason. Probably our most eventful offseason to this point. Hopefully this season we can make a few good signings and really complete this team. As Ullmark there caught in a bad spot, trying to go for the poke check. Left that far side of the net wide open as Tom Wilson delivers that. We go back, we go goal for goal here in the early going. He's not even 5 minutes into this game. A lot of action as finally we see Grigori Denisenko on the ice, number 14 there, just acquired from Florida. And he'll be there with Michael Rasmussen and Andrew Mangiapane. Mangiapane with it, the Hartford captain, going to dump it in there. Picked up by Brady Skahey. Skahey for David Krejci now, an age 40 season for him. Certainly would think he has his number retired. Now a turnover in front, Denisenko, his first shot as a Hartford Whaler, as Linus Ullmark flashes the leather. Denisenko, a nice shot there in the slot. Good possession there for Hartford, as we're kind of stealing the momentum at this point. Now Rasmussen on for the draw against Prokorin, who was the 6th overall pick in the 2026 NHL draft. So I think in the year 3 offseason, just 19 years old, his 20th game in the NHL. He was a big pick for Boston, number 6 overall, as I said. And Michael Rasmussen going to be tripped up, and I think that was the aforementioned rookie Prokorin, as Mangiapane in front, backhand for Rasmussen, loose puck. And Mangiapane had a chance, but Linus Ullmark stuck with it the whole way. And that's Vitaly Prokhorkin, as I said, a former 6th overall pick, one of the top young players here for the Boston Bruins, playing on the 3rd line, but he's heading to the sin bin. Now the Whalers power play will take the ice for the first time with Leo Carlsson at center. As he wins that back for Besser, a shot blocked there in front by Lindholm. Man knocked over there as well, as that is going to be a delayed penalty. So I think a roughing call or interference call coming up, as Boston a rush closed off as we trade penalties now. Andrew Mangiapane to the box for interference, as that Hartford power play just a strong 22 seconds. And now we'll have some 4-on-4 hockey for about a minute and a half. Mark Scheifele, Brock Besser out there for Hartford. Charlie McAvoy off the face-off, one back for Carlo, poked away. Brock Besser now with it. As he has 15 goals, trying to get to 20. Need 5 more here in the final. 22 is his shot off the pad there of Ullmark, as Brandon Montour with it. Back to the point for Scheifele, as he's forced off the puck there by Pavel Zacha. As he is going to dump that in. Sami Maki giving chase for Hartford. And so he'll pick that up. And he'll give it to Montour now up the boards for Brock Boeser. A chance now in front. Brock Boeser, as he's denied by Omar. McAvoy gives for Pasternak as Boston now on the power play. Pulock out of the box. Pass for him goes astray now behind the net there, as he's being held up by a pair of Whalers. Mark Scheifele now for Boeser as they kill off that penalty back to even strength. Just over halfway through this first period, as we do hit the 10-minute mark now. Carlo now for David Krejci, who's going to take it up. Krejci into the zone. Krejci in front, settles, and that's going to be blocked into the corner. Samuel Bolduc, his first full season as a Hartford Whaler. The expansion pick back in episode 1 from New York, now to an 81 overall. We've developed him quite nicely. As a turnover right in front, Filip Zadina forces it. A good backhand chance, but Omar slams the door. So Boston had all of it. You know, they owned early on. Hartford, really the second half of this first period so far, dominating. Although Boston a chance now in front for Moore, as his shot saved by Askarov. Trevor Moore, we've been mentioning a bunch of trade deadline guys. He was acquired back in year 1 at the trade deadline in a deal there with Jeremy Swayman. Now Zadina in front as he goes a nice deke there, but Olmark stood pat with it the whole time and slams the door. A tremendous first period here from Linus Olmark, as now David Krejci with it. Knocked off the puck there by Roslovic as Brady Skahey will take it up. Just dumps it in, and now Daniil Chaika there, number 5, making his NHL debut. Another trade deadline guy. We acquired him back in the year 1 trade deadline from Vegas in that Matt Grzelcyk trade. Grzelcyk, our expansion pick from Boston, actually, back in episode 1. Now Max Pacioretty, new-time Boston Bruin here, signed in the offseason. Centering pass there, closed off by Chaika, who gives it to Gage Gonzalez, now back in the starting lineup as Graham Clark with it. Fourth line out there for Hartford. Clark trying a centering pass, but right to Olmark, as we will get a stoppage. 5:15 left here in a very exciting, very action-packed first period. Olmark with a .914 save percentage, 2.72 goals against average this year. Very good numbers. And I think, his 3rd or 4th season now in Boston. And so this is just going to be dumped in. Daniil Chaika, the aforementioned rookie, making his NHL debut. Acquired, as I said, from Vegas at the year 1 trade deadline in that Matt Grzelcyk trade. Nick Cousins also went over to Vegas as a shot there from Gonzalez. Saved Olmark, backhand chance for Graham Clark. And again, Olmark slams the door. So I want to say he's up to at least like 10 saves at this point. The Whalers have owned the last 10 minutes or so after a very strong start from Boston. As now the top line out there for each side here. 9-1 in the face-off circle for Boston, make it 10-1, as they're absolutely dominating in that spot of this game. McAvoy now backhand pass to the boards for Lindholm. He gives to Zach, and now up for Pasternak. And this will be closed off there by Samuel Bolduc. Gets it up for Ivan Provorov. Provorov now in the neutral zone, up for Scheifele. Scheifele a rush here, shot, and another glove save there by Linus Olmark. I take such long breaks between these Whalers episodes just because I have some other things going on the channel, and I forget how much fun it is calling these hockey games. Now a chance in front for Hartford as Boeser picks up the loose puck back to the point for Montour. Scheifele on the one-timer, and he scores. Tic-tac-toe. Hartford gets in the back of the net. Mark Scheifele almost was dealt at the trade deadline. Boston was the team that was inquiring about him, as I mentioned, but Hartford elected to hold on to him. We're going to try and re-sign him in the offseason, as he goes one-timer there off the pass from Brandon Montour, and that's going to put Hartford ahead. Linus Olmark facing a lot of contested shots here. He has been very good most of the way, but that one just too strong of a chance for Hartford, as Mark Scheifele buries his 25th of the year, and he's now tied for 9th on the NHL points list there with Mikko Rantanen, as he's among the NHL's best this season. Now 2:42 left in the first. Assist there for Brock Boeser and Brandon Montour, as Boston does win a face-off again. Going to dump it in, but picked up by Hartford. Brandon Montour taking it up. Now into the zone. 2 minutes left in the first. Loses possession there against Pasternak, who gives back to Lindholm. Lindholm up for McAvoy, as Hartford does force the turnover there in the offensive zone. Scheifele in front. A nice rip off the pad, and he gets it back off Leo Carlson. A good forecheck there, as Scheifele did get it back. We see there Daniil Chaika, his first game in the NHL. 24 years old, 38th overall pick. I want to say that was maybe the 2022-2023 NHL draft, as he's worked his way up the Hartford organization from 3 years in there in Poughkeepsie, and he's now here in Hartford trying to earn a spot in our defensive core for next season. And now Michael Rasmussen on the draw against Perkorkin, as Boston another win there. Ilya Mikheyev going to take it in as he dumps it in. 1 minute left here in the first period. Sami Maki for Brandon Montour. Now Rasmussen going to lose possession. picked up by Meier fighting there against Denisenko. So Denisenko still going at it. Good aggressive play there. Now whipped around the boards for Boston. Joseph. And that was a weird ricochet. Askarov able to get in front of it just the final few seconds here as Hartford able to take it out of the zone. Rasmussen there for Mangiapane, a rip. And Ullmark will tuck that into his upper body as Hartford will end this first period. A very exciting first period as we lead 2-1. Goals from Mark Scheifele and Tom Wilson out shooting them 14-6. Time on attack 2 minutes to 118. Our passing at 97.4%, but they have us in the face-off circle. I think it was 12-2 it just said there, but if we can replicate what we were able to do there in the first period, I think we might be on our way to a win here at the TD Garden. Mark Scheifele is able to win that draw against Pavel Zacha, and we're already halfway to our first period face-off wins. Lindholm gets it as Boston able to steal possession, and so he'll take it up into the zone. Works across there against Montour. Pavel Zacha, a chance in front, save Askarov, as Montour able to get it off the rebound, gives up to Scheifele. He'll feed it up to Besser now into the zone. Besser, backhand chance there, easy save from Ullmark. Now an offensive zone face-off here for Hartford as they win the first two in this period. Maki now for Scheifele, back to the point for Montour, rip. Blocked there in traffic as Pasternak will take it up. The top goal scorer in the NHL this season so far. Pasternak trying to work past Sami Maki, who closes the door. Very good progression we've seen here from Sami Maki. Now in his third NHL season, we expect him next year to take a big jump into his age 22-23 season. I believe it's going to be up to 86 overall already. Bertuzzi a chance in front, trying to get number 2 as Askarov flashes the glove there. Now an offensive zone draw this time for Boston. David Krejci out there with Trevor Moore as Montour is going to steal possession there in the defensive zone, taking it up across center ice now into the offensive zone. Trying to work a dangle there, but can't keep possession. Krejci now over for Brady Skahey. And now the newly acquired Bruin, Andrei Kuzmenko, taking it in. Kuzmenko there for Moore in front. Good play there from Brandon Montour. A little desperate, but he was able to knock that puck away. Krejci a shot. And now Skahey for Carlo, back for Krejci. And another pass. A little too many passes there for Boston as it results in a turnover. Now Razovic the other way as he will retain possession. A shot, rebound in front for Zadina, and Ullmark able to just stop that one, almost crossed the line. But again, another good desperation play there from the Boston goaltender. As we're at the 15:01 mark now in the second period. Offensive zone face-off here to the left of Ullmark for the Whalers. Razovic on the draw as he'll win that for Provorov. Now Wilson back for Bolduc, a rip, and then again blocked in congestion as Brendan Carlo over for Andrei Kuzmenko for Moore. Now Skahey is going to take it up, a rush developing here for Boston. Now back to Krejci as he will lose the handle now. Gets it back in front, knocked to the ice as Hartford will take it the other way. No penalty. Bolduc now for Tom Wilson. Wilson loses the handle now. Provorov in front for Razovic. Trying to find some space. A shot and another glove save from Ullmark. After this game, I definitely want to sim ahead, maybe up to like game 70 or so, as we do want to move through this year 4 season, try and work into the offseason, because I do want to get at least 5 seasons in, as Michael Rasmussen, a slashing call, is going to put the Whalers shorthanded. A much needed power play here for Boston, trailing by 1 goal near the halfway point of this game. But as I was saying, I do want to try and get through this year 4 season maybe as quickly as we can at this point. Kind of been dragging on. As I said, I have priorities on the channel with a Madden series. I have a college football series, MLB The Show, so NHL kind of takes a back seat, at least until the new game ends up. I think now a chance here for Boston in front. Pass there for Zacha goes wide. And now Zacha into the corner for Pasternak, back to the point for Pacioretty. Back for Pasternak in front for Zacha. A prime chance there as Askarov slams the door. Able to close off that leverage there, but basis of what I was saying there during that Boston rush, just want to work through this year 4 season, try and get at least 1 more year in of this Hartford expansion franchise. Now 1:20 left on the Boston power play as they do win the draw. Trying to go centering pass there for, I'm not sure who that was, but Mangiapane slams the door. Able to intercept it, take it the other way. Now fighting with Pacioretty as now loose puck for Montour. Back to the point for Hartford. Razovic now trying to pass there for Mangiapane. Does get it, a shot. And that's going to go off the pad there of Ullmark now against the boards as Boston does get it back. 40 seconds left on the power play. Bertuzzi into the zone. Pass for Pasternak. Slammed the door. Or closed off there by Maki. Pacioretty able to get it back. Now Zacha for Corkin. And that's going to be blocked by Pacioretty. A rebound in front. And Askarov, tremendous concentration, sticking with it the whole way. Now only 19 seconds remaining. A win here for Hartford. Might be able to kill it off if he cleared the zone. As Chaika with it. and he does not clear the zone. Pacioretty able to keep it in here in the final seconds. Joseph held up against the boards, and Hartford is able to get it out as they're back to full strength. So just over 11 minutes here in the second period, back to 5-on-5 hockey as Max Pacioretty with it across the ice there for Pekorkin, as he will take it in for Boston, setting our back for Joseph. Loose puck now towards the boards. Krejci able to get it. Joseph a shot, and that's going to be paddled away there by Askarov. Chaika knocked down. Does get it up for Graham Clark, as Moore is able to get it there in the neutral zone. Back for Pacioretty. Over for Joseph, as he has Krejci there at the logo. He will take it up and in. Krejci now against the boards. Over for Joseph in front. I think that was blocked or saved by Askarov. Now loose puck in front. Trevor Moore, another chance, as that will be saved by Askarov. Hartford able to get it out. Here's Curtis Douglas, the 6'9", 240-foot fourth liner. We have a couple fights on the season for him so far. I don't think we've seen a single fight in all of these games that we've watched in this franchise. And that is going to be a delayed penalty there, as Trevor Moore will head to the box. A tripping penalty there against Brock Besser fighting for the puck, as now Hartford will head to the power play. Second power play unit out there for the Whalers, which includes Grigori Denisenko at left wing, Michael Rasmussen at center, Tom Wilson there along the boards at right wing. As Boston is able to get possession, they clear the zone. Zadina able to save it before it goes too far. Good pass there for Denisenko, now taking it in. Denisenko a shot that goes just wide. Almost had his first one as a Whaler. Now Rasmussen back for Tom Wilson. And another penalty here for Boston, as we're going to have a minute 27 of 5-on-3. I'm not sure what to call here, as that's going to be Pavel Zacha. So Zacha and Moore now in the box for Boston. And we'll take a look at the call. Just an elbow to the face there right in front of the ref. And you certainly can't do that. Zadina took a hard shot that time. Hopefully he's all right. But we now have our 5-on-3 power play unit out there. Leo Carlson loses the draw there, but able to get it back. Good poke there now in front for Mangiapane. A quick shot, save Omar. And that's another example of Leo Carlson creating offense with defense. He loses the draw, but just gets right on the puck carrier. Pokes it away, gets the turnover, and gets an opportunity for his teammate there right in front. So we'll do it again now. 1:16 left, as we've had a much better success on the faceoff circle this period. Montour with it, as he's pickpocketed there by Bertuzzi. Now Carlson again fighting for it in front now for Montour for Scheifele, a one-timer. As again the trio there tries to go tic-tac-toe, but Omar slams the door that time. Leo Carlson very impressive on the forecheck on these last couple sequences. Still out there against Mason Marchment on the draw, typical winger, as he will win that to Lindholm, and he will not clear the zone. Kept in by Besser, a shot, and again a glove save there by Omar. And I think Hartford now full pressure, as they're still there 5-on-3. Now Kuzmenko on the draw here for Boston, as Carlson does win that back. Montour for Scheifele loses possession, as Kuzmenko is able to clear the zone. So 30 seconds now left of 5-on-3. Montour being held there in the corner, kicks it around for Besser. Now over for Montour, up for Carlson. Rush developing here for Hartford. Mangiapane in front for Scheifele, and that's a good save there by Omar. And now just a few seconds left here. 5-on-3. Besser keeps it in, fought off the puck by Kuzmenko. And now Carlson holding him up against the boards, back for McAvoy. As Boston, a very good job to kill these penalties. Just 20 seconds now left of 5-on-4. As that goes all the way back to the Hartford boards. And now just 6 seconds left on the power play. Carlson on the entry for Besser. He can't get a shot off. Back for Carlson now. Scheifele, as they do keep it in. Montour for Scheifele. Scheifele a shot. And that's going to be blockered away by Allmark. Now Pasternak taking it up as he loses possession. Less than 5 minutes left here in the second period. Now Johnson with it, as he will give to Mikheyev. Ilya Mikheyev taking it in now along the boards. Stops back for Brendan Carlo. Shot goes wide. All the way along the boards for Skahey on the other side. Pasternak now starting to pass, intercepted as Tom Wilson will take it the other way now. Rush for here for Hartford. Although Boston did a good job getting back and matching the numbers. Skahey now along the boards, picked up by a teammate there, Joseph, as he will dump it in. And that will go along the boards, picked up by Brandon Montour, as Montour goes over to Tom Wilson. Loose puck now. Sammy Maki with it. As he'll give over for Montour. Long pass there for Gonzalez, as he shakes him in now with it. Trying to get Roslovic, but goes astray into the corner. As Roslovic able to knock down Mikheyev, fighting for it. Loose puck for Gonzalez now. Samuel Bolduc a rip. And that goes just wide. Gets it back, though, along the boards. Pass there for Graham Clark, as he will be intercepted there by Mikheyev. Now Carlo with it. as he loses possession. Fighting for it here in the neutral zone as Brady Skaife will take it up into the zone. Skaife a shot. Easy save there for Askarov. Now Clark with it as we hit the final minute here in this second period. Clark towards the net. A good feed there for Gage Gonsalves. I mentioned Gonsalves back in the lineup. He only had maybe 12 games played on the season, but back with a very familiar line mate there for our AHL team. Poughkeepsie, Gonsalves, and Graham Clark played a lot of games together. Even Curtis Douglas here on this line as well. So all three of those guys pretty familiar with each other. Bolduc off the faceoff win as it does go for Graham Clark. Now Douglas in front for Gonsalves, back for Bolduc as he rips it. Goes all the way back against the backboard. Now in front for Douglas, a good backhand chance in front. He might have been able to get it past there for Clark as his fourth line showing a lot of promise, a lot of energy so far. As now just the final 6 seconds of this second period. 2-1 Hartford, no goals here in this second frame. As Michael Rasmussen on the faceoff here against Max Pacioretty. Hartford a chance here as Provorov a shot blockered away, as that will take us into the third period. Now 2-1 still here for the Whalers. We had a 5-on-3 in this period that we could not capitalize on, but Linus Ullmark playing great hockey. Overall, I'd say our team's playing very well, but we're going to probably need to add another one here if we want to come out of Boston with a win. The Whalers won the faceoff circle that period 9-6, so a nice rebound there. Also outshooting Boston 26-14 to this point, but just a 1-goal lead to show for it. As we are now underway here in the third period from TD Garden. Montour with it for Brock Besser, going to take it in for the Whalers. Besser, timing pass for Scheifele, he scores! Right off the opening faceoff, Brock Besser hooks up with Mark Scheifele, who buries his second goal of the game. The Bruins were hoping he'd be scoring goals here in TD Garden for them, but instead, like I said a couple times already, the Whalers elect to keep him, and he's making Boston, he's showing Boston, why they wanted him. But he's a Whaler here to stay, hopefully. What a nice shot there. Going opposite corner against Linus Ullmark. Now among the NHL point leaders. He's now tied there with Claude Giroux, Nikita Kucherov. Tied there at number 5, I think it was, in the NHL. Tremendous season here for Mark Scheifele in a contract year. He wins another faceoff. Now Besser is trying to do the same thing as closed off that time. Besser does get the dump in, though. As Scheifele there against McAvoy gets it for Bertuzzi. Now 1 minute here into the third period, already a Whalers goal to show for it. A nice feed there for Lindholm, closed off by Maki, and that's going to be another penalty, I think a slashing call there against Lindholm, as the Whalers will go to the power play. See if the Whalers can get a power play goal this time. Had a few chances early on, but Ullmark able to keep the puck out of the net in those circumstances. Now a nice play there by Denisenko, forcing the turnover in front for Wilson, and Ullmark slams the door. Very good debut here from Denisenko. He's had a couple chances, and that time he created a very good chance. Good showing on the power play for him, but loose puck for Joseph in front. As a shorthanded chance there for Boston. Askarov closes that one. Rasmussen still out there for the Whalers, this second power play unit. He wins that back for Provorov now against the boards. Held up, kicks it up for Rasmussen. Now loose puck for Zacha in front. And Askarov able to stack the pads and save that one. And now another chance here for Berkorkin, as again Askarov being contested here on the power play, or on the Hartford power play, that is. You would expect it to be a little more smooth sailing, as again Boston forces the turnover, and now a rush here for Boston. Zacha with it as he shoots, closes off there by Askarov, closed off the post there. As Denisenko now for Zadina. Less than 30 seconds now for Whalers, as Rasmussen a chance now. Rasmussen 2-on-1 for Hartford, as that's closed off. Good recovery from Johnson. And now Rasmussen battling there against the boards against Johnson. Loose puck in front for Denisenko. Still fighting for it now, as McAvoy is going to win that battle. Does not get the clear, though. Kept in by Zadina. Over for Provorov in front for Wilson. Good calculated pass there, as Rasmussen still battling for it now. 30 shots on goal for Hartford, as Boston is able to get it. Corkin for McAvoy. They're very tired out there. Need a line change. Trevor Moore with it, trying to find some room. Intercepted by Tom Wilson. Now Whalers back the other way against a very tired Bruins team here, as Wilson could not get a chance. Rasmussen now, as Ullmark going to stab that one with the glove, and finally they get a stoppage, as Ullmark having a phenomenal game here despite the 3 goals allowed. I'm not really sure what's gotten into our Whalers in this one, but you love to see it, especially after that slow start there in the first period. Fell behind early. Bolduc now off the face-off, gets it back along the boards there for Scheifele for Besser. Brock Besser spins away from man, gets some space in front, his shot. Loose puck, and that's going to be frozen there by Ullmark. Another offensive draw here for the Whalers, as tied up, and Brady Skaife will take it the other way. There for Trevor Moore. Poked away. Good play there by Bolduc, really emerging as a good stay-at-home defenseman. Kuzmenko a shot. He scores! Just beats the short side there. Not sure how he got that angle, but Andrei Kuzmenko in his first game as a member of the Boston Bruins, he finds the back of the net, and he splits the deficit in half now. I think Bolduc might have been blocking Askarov there, screening him a little bit, maybe more there. Good presence in front of the net that time as Askarov, short side there. Kuzmenko had to put that on the money, and he did bury that one. So now just a 1-goal game here from the TD Garden, as we still have over 10 minutes left to play here. 13:55, Kuzmenko his 16th of the season. David Krejci on the assist. Hartford does win the faceoff. Scheifele now over for Karlsson. Along the boards, loses possession, pickpocketed by Brendan Carlo. Now David Krejci with it. Battling there along with Ivan Provorov as Scheifele will pick up that loose puck. Trying to split a couple defenders there, loses the handle. And now back to the defense of Hartford. Provorov for Scheifele, now for Besser. Brock Besser along the boards will dump it in as Karlsson there to find it. Karlsson in front for Provorov, and that's going to be deflected away. And now back to the point for Bolduc for Scheifele, a shot. A nice rip there. Trying to go short side there, closed off by Olmark, still with it. Battling along the boards. And Bolduc going to be slashed there, so another penalty here for Boston. That's going to be Kosh. I don't know about all these penalties. We've had variant results, so I guess I just stick with the sliders as they are. But Boston, of course, has committed, what, 4 or 5 penalties now compared to 2 or 3 for Hartford. So hopefully we can get one here, get some insurance here in the later stages. 11:48 left in regulation, 3-2 Hartford. As Boston does win that draw, trying to clear it. As that does lose the zone. Hartford has to reset. Zadina going all the way back to his own zone for whatever reason. Gives it up for Scheifele, stolen there by Mikheyev, over for Mata. And now Brady Skehey, Boston doing a very good job killing time, but a turnover there in the defensive zone. Karlsson now for Scheifele, trying to get a hat trick. And that one gets saved by Olmark. Still battling there in the corner. Scheifele for Mangiapane now. Back for Zadina. Up for Mangiapane now. Provorov a rip. Blocked in front by Scheifele. As Hartford back with it. Scheifele now along the boards. Working his way in front. Loses possession. Joseph now for Mikheyev as Boston able to clear it. Zadina giving chase there. As he will retrieve. Now Zadina over for Mangiapane. Mangiapane now for Karlsson as Hartford enters the zone. Karlsson in front for Mangiapane, almost a nice pass, but Ali Mata able to break that one up and clear it. And now less than 20 seconds on this Hartford power play. Zadina takes it in. Back for Mangiapane, working his way in. Pass there for Karlsson, a little too long for him, as Mangiapane might have been better off just taking a shot in that spot. Now 9:50 left in the game, just 2 seconds on the power play. Boston, another power play or penalty kill here. I think 0 for 4 now for Hartford on the power play, 0 for 5. Now Denisenko still battling for it there against McAvoy. Very good forecheck we've seen from Denisenko in this game so far, as he makes a hit there against Krejci. Just throwing the body, bringing the energy. So 2 good debuts here from Kuzmenko for Boston, Denisenko for Hartford. Acquisitions there at the trade deadline. Tom Wilson trying to take it in, loses possession. As Charlie McAvoy with it now for Marchment. Mason Marchment leading the rush. A good pass there for Kosh. Just out of the penalty box there. A shot and almost a rebound for Pacioretty. Couldn't handle it. Now a long shot there from McAvoy. Gets it back off the rebound. Marchment now back for McAvoy in front for Marchment. As Tom Wilson able to block it. Now Carlo not able to get a strong shot off as Denisenko through the body now. Boston with some momentum here. Now Rasmussen a rush back the other way for Hartford, as he can't get a shot off. Now 7 minutes left here in regulation. Boston trying to steal the momentum. As Kosh now a chance, he enters. Spins away from a man. Back to the point for Carlo, a shot. Askarov with the save now into the corner. Marchment battling there with Montour, as Montour able to win that one along the boards there for Rasmussen, as he will take it up and out. Now over for Gonsalves, I think it was, but intercepted. That was Denisenko, but intercepted. Now Rasmussen still with it. This third line for Hartford been out there quite a while. Tom Wilson now a shot, as that will be blockered away. Brock Besser now for Wilson, a rip, as that's blocked in congestion, and Olmark will end up with this. Now less than 5 minutes left in regulation. 3-2 Hartford. Offensive zone draw here for the Whalers to the left of Linus Olmark, as Pavel Zacha able to win that for Boston. Ali Mata now with it. Mata up the boards, will just dump it in, and Sami Maki there to retrieve it for Hartford, as he will give up for Graham Clark. Interception in front. Pasternak back for Bertuzzi. His shot goes wide. Pasternak back with a backhand, and Askarov able to save that. Huge lapse there by the fourth line of our Whalers. You can't be giving it up there. And now an offensive zone draw for the Bruins. 3:51 left in the game. Curtis Douglas on against Pavel Zacha. At advantage, Zacha back from Mata. Johnson a shot from the point, blockered away by Askarov. Now loose puck ends up on the stick of Curtis Douglas. Douglas, pass goes astray there. Boston able to regain possession, enters the zone. Strong play there from Gonsalves, trying to work it. And a good centering pass there for Moore, but Askarov, what a save to slam the door. It took me a second to process that one. Did not expect that to happen, but the Bruins able to develop a very nice offensive chance, but Askarov closes the door. And now just 2:42 left here in regulation. See if we can hold here down the stretch. The Whalers just leading by a goal. Tied up there on the face-off. Kuzmenko, a quick rip off the face-off. Saved there by Askarov as Hartford does clear the zone. Gonsalves hit off the puck, goes along the boards there, picked up by Lindholm. And so feed over to David Krejci. Kuzmenko poked away there in the neutral zone by Samuel Bolduc. Gets it back for Scheifele. Hartford regains possession now into the offensive zone. Scheifele. He loses the handle. Krejci now with it, loose puck against the boards. McAvoy taking it up for Boston. Just over a minute now left in regulation. As man loses his stick there. And he's just skating towards the puck without a stick. And he does kick it there for McAvoy, though. Is that Kuzmenko? There he goes, finally getting his stick there. Just goes to the bench as Boston enters. They pull the goalie here. Extra attacker on the ice. Loose puck in front as Askarov able to handle that one. So Boston gets a chance there as they do pull the goalie. 43 seconds left. An important face-off here. Boston up 23-18. So we've really handled the face-off circle after that first period. Maki with it. Over for Montour now up for Zadina. We clear the zone. Zadina going up, shot on goal, and he scores! As Hartford is going to get some insurance here. 19th goal of the season for Zadina. He's been a tremendous story after selecting him from Detroit in that expansion draft, his 19th of the season. He's also on a contract here, does not want to resign, but he's been so good for us, and I definitely want to bring him back if we can, along with Mark Scheifele this upcoming offseason. Nice shot there from about center ice, or I guess more so the blue line. He tucks that where it needs to be. Hartford up 4-2 now, so much needed insurance. And we're going to come out of TD Garden with a victory. Now just 33.7 seconds remaining. Montour and Sami Maki with assists there. You love to see Maki getting a point. Zadina, another chance here right off the face-off. As he holds there, does not get a shot or a pass off. And now back for Sami Maki in front. Goes to the corner. Maki back for Rozovic in front for Wilson. A shot. Blocked away by Olmark. Good setup that time for Hartford, keeping it in Maki now for Montour's shot. Loose puck in front as Carla will get it for Boston. Just 10 seconds now left as they enter the zone. Ilya Mikheyev. Pass there for Joseph. Good save by Askarov behind the net now. As Joseph in front, another save by Askarov. Loose puck as the Hartford Whalers are going to come here into TD Garden and come out with a victory. 4-2 over the Bruins, who did enter this game at 1 point above us in the standings. And even though they were buyers at the trade deadline, we were sellers. We still beat them here, so maybe we have a late playoff surge in us. We've been playing very good hockey in the last few games here. I think now winners in 6 of our last 8 or something to that tune, but a very good performance here. 38 shots total for our Whalers, just a very good offensive showing, and maybe the moves we made here lately are really going to help propel our team as the Whalers win here 4-2 from Boston. In that game, Yaroslav Askarov was the third star, stopping 27 out of 29 shots faced. And we do fail an owner goal there. They wanted us to acquire a first-round pick, but we would probably have had to trade Mark Scheifele in order to complete that, so I was not going to entertain that. But we are kind of falling out of favor with our owner. Currently, his happiness with us is at terrible. Our fan happiness at 41, so we have a lot of work to do. We built that up in year 2 and then kind of just has dwindled down as we've gone along here. But now 30, 29, and 4, we're at 8th in the Metro. Still like 9 or 10 points out of a playoff spot, so we'll see how we can do here down the stretch. As I said, I want to simulate a few more games here, maybe 6 or 7. Get to game 70 on the season. We'll start here back-to-back on the road again here against Washington. We'll see if we can get back-to-back wins here post-trade deadline. As we'll simulate the first no scoring, 14 shots for Washington to 10 for us. And we fall down there 2-0 after the second. Backup goalie Daniil Tarasov in net as he relieves Askarov in this back-to-back. LaPierre there on the power play. And we are going to be shut out. 36 shots on goal. So who's in goal there for Washington? Philip Gustafson, now a Capital, stops all 36 shots. Great performance from Tarasov too. 35 saves for him against 37 shots. So he's been a very good backup goalie for us. He might earn that spot next year as well. As we're now at an even 30, 30, and 4. We have a home game here against Vegas, who currently are not very good. I want to say towards the bottom of the NHL at just 22, 38, and 4 now. And actually the Sharks, the only team worse than they are, at 43 points compared to 48 for Vegas. So we'll keep it moving here. Hopefully we can come out of this game against Vegas back at home with a win. Shutout in our last game. So we get 3 here in the first. You love to see that. Mangiapane got it going early, just over a minute and a half in. And Leo Carlsson scored 2 goals 11 seconds apart there against Ville Husso, as we more than doubled their shots there in the first. Still 3-0 after 2. And we're going to come out of here with a shutout. Andrew Peeke with a goal. We win 4-0. A very good response here after getting shut out. Askarov, his 4th shutout of the year, stopped all 21 shots he faced. Carlsson, 2 goals. Scheifele with 2 assists. As we now travel to LA with a matchup here against the Kings, who are 24, 35, and 6. So another team out of the playoff picture there in the Western Conference. Hopefully we can handle these teams, without a glimmer of hope. We still have a hope, but they do not, as they lead 1-0 after 1. Kaliev, the lone goal scorer, 1-1 after 2. Denisenko gets his first goal, scoring there against Jeremy Swayman, who we mentioned was acquired by the Kings in that year 1 trade deadline and that Trevor Moore trade. Now 1-1 will slow sim the rest of this game. Hartford on the power play, as the Kings able to kill it off. So just under 12 minutes left here in regulation. Now less than 10 minutes left. The Kings on a power play, killed off by the Whalers. As we're now less than 5 minutes left in regulation. Still all tied up here. Looks like we might get overtime, as we will. So again, we'll simulate this one slowly as the simming is complete. Mark Scheifele, overtime game-winning goal. And now our Whalers playing tremendous hockey here. Don't look now, but we might make a playoff run, as Askarov stopped 30 of 31 shots for a .967 save percentage, of goals against under 1. And he's really playing good hockey here as well. So the guys that we need to get going have really been delivering here down the stretch. And we're now 32, 30, and 4. We'll take a look at the standings here. We'll simulate through 4 more games in this episode. And just looking at the Metro, Columbus at 78 points. We're at 68, so we still have 10 points to go for them, although they do have 1 more game played than we do. But we're playing hot hockey right now. I think we're maybe among the hottest teams right now in the Metro, as we've won 7 of our last 10, as has Philly, with one of those a post-regulation loss. Also, the Devils 8-1-1 in their last 10. So we have some other teams playing very good hockey, but hopefully Columbus, the Islanders, can continue to fall. What's going on overall, though? I wonder if we can maybe get a wild card spot more easily, as Buffalo with 77 points, we're at 68, so still, 9 or 10 points out of a playoff spot. Even though we have been picking up our play, we just need those teams in front of us to show at least, a little sign of regression here down the stretch. Now at game 66, a matchup here against the Minnesota Wild, who are currently one of the better teams right now in the Western Conference. And I want to say they were the Stanley Cup champions back in year 2 of this franchise, or they at least made it. I want to say it was like Minnesota Islanders that year. We fall there in the first period, 2-1. Wallstead in there at goaltender for Minnesota. Tom Wilson on the power play. Adam Larson gets a goal. He was recently acquired there at the trade deadline. Riley Smith also with 1, 2-1 Minnesota. And now 4-2 after 2 periods. We tied it up there with Brock Besser, but Marco Rossi and former Hartford Whaler now on the Wild, Nolan Patrick, gets one in, as they win 6-4. So they netted 2 in each period. One of those an empty netter, though. Adam Larson ended with 2 goals. Daniil Chaika gets his first career goal. Samuel Bolduc gets a goal there. The defensive line mates, although we do fall there to Minnesota. Now simulate here a home game against Montreal. They've been playing good hockey like us, winners in 7 of their last 10, but a battle here between, pretty even Eastern Conference teams. Hopefully we can handle them here. No scoring in the first. Shots pretty much even at 12-11. They get the lone goal there in the second from Beck. So 1-0 here, Montreal. An early power play for the Whalers. They kill that off. And like we had before in these close games, we'll just simulate the rest here slowly, as we're now more than halfway through this third period. 1-0. We tie it up now 1-1. Tom Wilson there on Jonas Korpisalo. 1-1 game here. Less than 3 minutes left in regulation. Looks like we're going to bring another one here to overtime, as no, we are not. Mark Scheifele with 32 seconds left as he nets the game winner. He had that overtime winner in that overtime game and now gets a late game winner there against Korpisalo, as Askarov gets another win here, stopping 32 out of 33 shots. And he's got to be playing among the best goalies in the league right now. We have a back-to-back home game here with Anaheim and Detroit. The Ducks, the top team right now in the Pacific. So a little bit better than we are, and then we're going to have versus Detroit, who currently is out of a playoff spot as well, very even with where we're at. Actually, a few more points in the standings than we are. I think maybe 5 or 7 points ahead of us. But before that, we'll try and handle the Ducks here. Up 2-1 after one. Filip Zadina and Brock Besser, the goal scorers. Mason McTavish got the first one, though, but the Whalers able to counter with 2 of their own. Now, assuming the second period, we get one more there from Mangiapane, up 3-1 heading into the third, and we close them out here. Another very good performance from Askarov, stopping 30 out of 31 shots. Zadina and Mangiapane, the top stars, the second and third star, there respectively. We see Denisenko there at the top, gaining some morale because of ice time and performance. So it looks like our Whalers may be turning a corner here, as we'll close this episode versus Detroit, only winners in 3 of their last 10. And even though it is a back-to-back, I want to see if we can get Askarov into action again, just because he's been so hot between the pipes at this point. They did have Tarasov in, who's also been good in his own right, but we just got to ride Askarov with how well he's been playing. The final simulation here in this episode, we're going to end at 70 games into this Year 4 season, as they do jump up 2-1. Mitch Tomernes, who was a top 3 pick in either this past draft or the draft before, gets one. Zadina evened it up there against his former team. Kakkonen, the goalie for the Red Wings, and then Berggren got one with 34 seconds left to take the lead. And even though Hartford trailing, they're up 13-5 in shots, and they let up one more there. Tomernes got his second of the day, as the Red Wings exploded for 17 shots in that second period. Now 3-1 heading into the third, and Hartford able to tie it up. Tom Wilson got one early on. Larkin made it 4-2. But then in the final 5 minutes, we get 2 goals. One from Zadina, his second of the day. And then Mark Scheifele, another incredibly clutch goal, as he tied it up with 1:26 remaining. So we'll slow sim this overtime period. See if maybe Scheifele can net another one. That would just be absolutely absurd. Although we might get a shootout in this one, as we'll simulate that. And we win 5-4. Carlson and Besser with shootout goals as our team rallies in this game and able to take down the Red Wings. Zadina, 3 points, 2 goals, and an assist against his former squad. Tom Wilson, a goal, 2 assists, and then Mitch Tomernes, that young rookie we mentioned, with 2 goals. A very good game there, as the Red Wings look to develop him into one of the game's best. But this is where I'm going to leave you, folks. Thank you so much for watching. What a fun episode it was, starting there with the trade deadline. We had a very good game there against Boston that we won, and Mark Scheifele just absolutely tore it up in this episode. 74 points now on the season, among the leaders in the league at plus 32, 45 assists, 29 goals. Zadina second, and then Tom Wilson are only 3 guys with at least 50 points on this season. But a very fun episode. We have probably 1 or 2 more episodes to go before we reach the postseason, and with only 12 games left in the year, probably too little too late for our Whalers, even though we are putting together a very good stretch of hockey here. But the momentum we have, the success we've been having, that's just something to carry into next season. But as always, everybody, it's been real, and be well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.